Real eyes realize real lies. Welcome, star seeds, children of the sky, chosen ones, light workers, and all that beautiful galactic help. We're going to be talking about spiritual evolution, part 2. And we're going to give you an example of why that the people that has been elected to give these messages are truly qualified. And why do I say truly qualified? Because we talk about eras in which the Old Testament, the New Testament, now the Third Testament, we talk about all the things that has happened during those times. But if we were to just look back in the Old Testament at Jeremiah 1:5, listen to what it says. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nation. So what I'm trying to get you to understand, that if these people claim to be real children of God, it will be easy to figure out whether they are or not. So in order to just give you an idea why I feel and think the way I do, I'm going to share something that truly happened that was kind of supernatural, you know. And this happened on a trip the second week of January. And what happened, we all went to dinner and someone came outside and said they wanted to take a picture with the actual sign of the building. I explained that my camera could do that. So now they go in to get everyone to take the picture. Now the food is ready. So we began to eat. After that, we wanted to take the pictures. But it was raining extremely hard that day. So they said, oh, it's raining. So with it being raining, how are they going to take the pictures in all that rain? So me trying to use my inside voice, I said, give me my staff. It didn't come out like that, people. It came out, give me my staff. I'm like, what the? So what are you going to do with your staff? I'm going to go out and calm the storm. I'm going to go out and calm the storm. So think about that now. There are about 7 people around this table, and I'm sure they're saying to themselves, man, D. Richardson lost his mind. Poor fella, he think he can calm the storm. Nobody said nothing to me, though. So I politely grabbed my staff. I walked outside, people, and I said, storm, be calm. Went back in. With serious confidence, I sit down. Now, people are kind of probably looking at you kind of strange, like D. Richardson lost his mind. Yeah? But I guarantee you, within 4 minutes of me sitting down, there was not a drop of rain. Not a drop of rain. So think about this, people. No rain. So in my heart, I knew I did it. I'm sure there's a few other people that know I did it. So why do I think I did it? Because Christ told me I can do everything that he do. He told them they can calm the storms and do whatever he did. I had that kind of faith that I could do those things too. Now, I was pretty amazed by it actually, but what happened, I still had no proof that I did it, but I know I did. I get home 2 days after the fact. 2 days after the fact. Now, I began to study dive back in, and guess what happened, people? It came to me. It came right to me soon when I got home. Now, in this testament, this is going to be page 160, actually, and it speaks like this. Pay attention now. The power of the children of God over nature. The elements will obey you when you comply with my law. And when you ask it of me for the benefits of your brothers, I have taught you that even the unleashed elements can hear your prayers and become calm. If those elements obey my voice, why should they not obey the voice of the children of the Lord when they have become prepared? So that was a confirmation that, yes. Then also in here, it speaks like you can calm the storms. When you ask the elements to be calm and the elements actually come down, you have reached the highest level of enlightenment. Like, okay, then, okay. Not being arrogant, but it was joy just to see what you're putting in, that you're getting it out. So this is what the children of God over nature. Now let's look a little further here, guys, on the same page. When we talk about man in nature, the heading here is man in nature. Listen here. But you must take care, O people of the earth, for if you continue to make use of my divine lesson to provoke the elements, you apply the limited knowledge that you have toward evil. You will receive, when you least expect it, the painful and just response. You provoke the winds, the fire, the earth, the water, and all forces. You are well aware of what your harvest would be. If you do not correct your activities in time and be able to stop the elements, unleashed because of your foolishness. So, people, it's the same. They're telling you what you can do. He's telling you what's going to happen if you don't do. Now, this is actually happening right here on earth as we speak. How do we know that? Because he says, when they are being sealed, all the winds are held back. So he's telling you that that's a part of your DNA right there. The winds are being held back while you're being sealed. But when they are unleashed upon you, I think not long ago, they had 700 earthquakes in one day, in one place. And after the earthquake stopped doing what they do, the volcano erupted. Half of the country's on fire. Half of the country's underwater. The elements are being unleashed. But you call it global warming. I wanted to talk about the symbols and all the things that we're so caught up in that have been used against us in some form of idolatry. But Holy said, no, not yet. You just introduced them to the spirituality or evolution the last video. And you talked about some stuff that's kind of way out there. You need to make people understand that that has to be accomplished before you can move forward. So, where we are now, we talked about it from Old Testament. We talked about it from the New Testament. So, what are they? We are what? new disciples, disciples of the era, spokesmen for the Father and his will. Why? Just to show you the mercy of the Father. Not being tormented, not being on fire, just light and darkness. First era, you had Satan, God. Second era, you had good and evil. This era, you have light and darkness. So, if you can obtain that light, you've been hidden all your life. Let's talk about it again. The stages in the reincarnation of the spirit. So, we showed you that from the Old Testament, when Elijah did it, to John. Or you even hear Nicodemus talking about, what do you mean? I have to be born again. Do I come back in my mother's womb? No. Do I get baptized in water? No. None of those things mean what it think it mean in reference to being born again. Now, listen, people, the power of the conviction of the doctrines of reincarnation. Spiritual enlightenment is revealing to the world the truth, the just, the reason, the love that exists in the spiritual gift of reincarnation. Nevertheless, in the beginning, the world would fiercely battle this revelation, labeling it as a strange false doctrine in order to make men of good faith distrust it. The efforts of the religions to maintain their faithful in their routines and of old beliefs and methods beyond their time shall be useless and vain. For none can stop the divine light that penetrates in the depth of understanding, awaking the spirit to the era of revelation of divine confidence. Nor shall any be able to hold back the torrents that form when humanity raised in search of liberty of thought, of the spirit, and of faith. So, people, this is universal law. Nature followed this law. The planetarians follow this law. Everybody followed this law with the exception of mankind. So let me tell you why he don't follow this law. Why? Because he don't understand the stages. The stages were the same in the Old Testament, but being revealed in the New Testament and are actually here in this Testament. How do we know that? Because he told you in Revelation, the seven churches spoke only of that, the stages. So if he can do that in Revelation and then come to a New Testament of the era in the time in which you live in and still make that make sense, oh, I think it's time to pay attention. Let's go. I am calling all travelers to listen to my voice, which invites them to ascend spiritually and to possess eternal life. In this day in which the divine word makes itself heard, learn from this word and enlighten yourself with it. For in wisdom is light and your salvation. If the law teaches you morality, righteousness, in order in all acts of your life, why do you seek a adverse path, which brings you pain? And when you depart to the hereafter, leaving your body to the earth, you weep because you have loved that physical body so much. When you feel that the material body no longer belongs to you and that you must follow the road until you reach me, I have asked you, my child, what gifts do you bring me? Have you lived on this earth obeying my mandates? Hmm. And you are ashamed and dejected because you do not bear a gift of love for the one who loves you so much and has granted you so much. You have created chains which crush your spirit and have lost its grace. Your spirit appears without light, weeping and grieving. It hears the voice of the Father who calls, but since it has not evolved nor feel worthy of coming to him, it hesitates and it waits. And time passes, and once again, the spirit hears that voice. In the midst of its pain, it asks, who speaks? And that voice say, awaken. Do you know from where you come from, nor where you go? Then the spirit raises his eyes and sees an immense light before its splendor. It sees itself insignificant. It recognizes that before being sent to the earth, it had existed and had been loved by the Father, which is from whom the voice comes, and who now, upon seeing him in this painful situation, suffer for it. The Spirit knows that it has been sent to different worlds to journey over a difficult path in which has reached its rewards through its merits. Huh. People, what's the difference in the seven churches? What is the difference from the seven churches? Boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What? You advance, you evolve, and you what? Reap your reward for those things. And once you do that, you sent back again as one of the fathers, enlightened ones, chosen ones, star seeds, healers, seers, and what? Mandates and speakers. Okay? Now listen here. Pay attention now. The child asks, if before being sent to earth, I have been your beloved creature, why have I not remained virtuous? Why have I had to descend to suffer and work in order to return to you? Great question, child. I'll give you the answer. The voice replied, all spirits have been submitted to the law of evolution. And on that road, the spirit of the Father always protects you and is pleased by the good deeds of his Son. Truly, I have sent you to earth in order that you might make up its dwelling of struggles for spiritual perfection. Not a valley of war and pain. Not what you were sent here for, people. Now listen, I have told you to multiply and not be sterile. And when you return to the spiritual valley and do not bring any harvest, you only reap, arriving without grace with which I have covered you. That is why I send you one more time to tell you, cleanse yourself, seek that which you have lost, and cultivate your elevation. Hmm. The spirit returns to earth and seeks small, a tender human body in order to rest in it and begin the new journey. It finds itself as a small child designated to it and unite with the body in order to make restitution for its failing within my law. Knowing what it must do and aware that it belongs to the Father, the Spirit comes to earth, clearly aware of its mission. In its first years, it's innocent. It preserves its purity. It remains in contact with the spiritual life. Now, you and I both know we have seen babies just having a ball, playing, doing all kinds of things, still in spiritual contact, still innocent. Now, what happens after that? The spirit in the material body eats the forbidden fruit. And when they fall into the abyss, that last hour surprised them. And once again, the spirit finds itself in the spiritual valley, weary and burdened by the weight of its faults. Then it remembers that the voice that spoke to it in another time would still calls on it. And after much weeping, feeling lost, and not knowing who it is, it remembers that it has already been in that place. Okay. Then the Father, who has created it with so much love, appears on that path asking, who are you? From where do you come from? And where do you go? Now pay attention to what happens here. The Son recognized in that voice the word of the one who has given it its existence, intelligence, and gifts. The voice of the Father who has always forgives, who purifies and removes the darkness and leads to the light. The child trembles because it knows it is before the judge and speaks saying, Father, my disobedience and my debt, you are very great. And I cannot aspire to live in your home. For I have no merits. Today, when I return to the spiritual valley, I see that I have only accumulated faults for which I must make restitution. But the loving Father once again points out the way. And once again, the Spirit incarnates and forms a part of humanity. The cycle never stops, people. Opportunity after opportunity. Now, let's look at it from another perspective here. Now, listen. Now, the experience, and with great strength, it then subdues to the material body in order to control it and to obey the divine dictates. The battle begins. The spirit combats with the sin which caused man to fall and want to take advantage of the opportunity which has been granted for its salvation. It struggles from the beginning to the end. And when The white hair shine on the temple, the body, which before was strong and healthy, begins to slowly stoop under the weight of the years and lost energy. Then the spirit feels strong, more developed and experienced. How great and disgusting sin appears to that being. It leaves that sin and reaches the end of its journey. Now it awaits the moment in which the Father will call it, for it has come to the conclusion that the divine law is just, that the will of God is perfect, and that the Father lives in order to give life and salvation to his children. People. Now, I want you to pay attention to what happens here, guys. When the last day comes, it feels the death and its flesh and has no pain. It departs silently, respectfully. It contemplates itself in the spirit. And if you had a mirror before it, sees itself as a beautiful and radiant with light. Beautiful and radiant with light. Then the voice speaks to it and asks, child, where are you going? And knowing who it is, it approaches the Father because it has now the authority, because the light is there and there is no darkness. Pay attention now. It can approach. This is what happened. Allows this light to invade its being and speak thus, O Creator, O universal love, I come to rest and give to you fulfillment of my mission. The account is settled. The spirit is healthy, cleansed and free of chains of sin, and it sees before it the reward which awaits it. Then it feels that it merged with the light of that Father, that its joy is greater, and it contemplates a mansion of peace, a holy land, in a profound silence, that it remains at rest in the bosom of Abraham. You see that, people? Well, there is this, that, or that. The Father has so much love for you. But when you come out that spiritual valley and you're in darkness, you can be in the best mansion in the world. But you're not going to be able to enjoy it because you can't see that light. This is all we're bringing to you. An opportunity to merge with the Father now. Now, what are the real earthly benefits? Oh, peace like no other. Why? You don't worry about a damn thing. You know why? Because you know you're greater than the sparrow. So therefore, it's all taken care of. What else? Guess what, people? When you leave that carbon body and receive a form of your spiritual body right here, because you're able to communicate directly with the Father, guess what else happened? You have a tendency now to reverse aging. That is a great benefit, especially for a brother like me. I'm going to tell you, I hope you enjoy it. Pay attention, do your own analysis, do your own research, do your own fact finding, and connect with the Father.